Hey everybody, so I wanted to make this video about CPTSD and religion/spirituality, but I want to put two disclaimers. A, I am only speaking from my personal experience. I can't speak for other people with CPTSD and their experience. And B, I think that there's reasons personally to not believe in God just based off of objective, scientific, logical reasons that are completely unrelated to my experience and completely unrelated to anything emotional or subjective. That being said, here's the video. So, when it comes to religion, one big part of my experience with PTSD and religion, for me personally, also to my wife and to a lot of other people I've met that have been through a lot of trauma, is that God was not there for us during the trauma or after the trauma. I know for me personally, I was a very devout Christian, and I would pray to God sometimes during the abuse and after the abuse. I would pray to Him tons of times. The abuse wasn't going on, and it's been a while, and there was this radio silence. And I was often told things like God works in mysterious ways, and that, oh, this is some type of test, or that like something really good's gonna come out of all of this. But it really can hurt somebody's self-esteem to know that there is supposedly an all-powerful, all-loving God who is looking out for you but then doesn't protect you during those type of events. And even if something good did come out of it, it still doesn't really excuse that stuff happening to begin with and that stuff being allowed. And then sometimes something good doesn't come out of it. It's not just some test, it's just like, well, that happened, that was really fucked up, and that's just how it is. So that can lead to a lot of people with PTSD losing their sense of faith because God wasn't there for them during the abuse or after it to protect them. The next thing I'm going to talk about is feelings of shame, worthlessness, guilt, things of that nature. That is something I have struggled with a lot growing up, and it was partly due to my abuse, yes, because those are common feelings after abuse, but it was also very much heightened by growing up in a religious environment because I grew up as a Christian, and I was told that I was born sinful, I was born deserving of hell for all of eternity, and that like I'm just like this terrible person that needs forgiveness, that like all these things that like the foundation of Christianity like teaches people. And that kind of stuff just really amplifies any type of worthlessness or guilt, or shame or anything that you feel from the abuse. It just adds on to it to be told that by like your religion as well. And so I think that that can really do a lot of damage to people as well. A lot of abuse tactics are very normalized in my experience by Christianity. Um, for example, it was very normalized to do something very harmful to somebody and to say, I did that because I loved you. That you see that same type of relationship in religion, like such as Christianity, where God would do these terrible things to people and then be like, I did that terrible thing to you because I love you. That's just one of very many examples. I could do a whole entire other video on it, but a lot of abuse tactics are normalized by religions such as Christianity, and so that's one of the reasons that somebody who's going through abuse might not realize that what's happening to them is wrong because it's okay when God does it in the Bible, so why is it wrong when this person does it to me? That sort of thing. Another way that CPTSD and religion can be related is a lot of the time churches defend abusers, they cover up abuse, and so you think that you have to do the same thing. They preach forgiveness about everything, and they also very much preach the patriarchy where like men had to be above women, and so that can make somebody feel like, okay, well, I'm a woman and a guy abused me, that's okay because he's supposed to be above me. And just all these like really toxic things, like you're supposed to love your parents no matter what, you're supposed to honor and respect your parents no matter what, even if family members are abusive and stuff of that nature. So a lot of time churches end up enabling abusers and telling victims that they need to stay with people who are hurting them even when it's not safe. Another really harmful thing that I experienced was purity culture. So you're told pretty much that you need to like cover up your whole entire body, and if you don't, then if a guy does something to you, well, that makes you like impure, and if you have any type of sex before marriage, that makes you impure, and you're this dirty thing that's like used up, and all this like really like hateful misogynistic language that a lot of Christian churches use. And I do recognize that not all of them do, but purity culture is a very big thing in Christianity and a lot of other religions. And so you might kind of like blame yourself when you have CPTSD of like, well, maybe if I wasn't wearing that outfit, then the abuse wouldn't have happened. Or like, oh, because the abuse did happen, I'm no longer pure and nobody's never want me. Or like, just all these other like really self-deprecating thoughts. And so that's another way that religion can be harmful for some people when they've been through trauma. Another thing I don't see talked about enough is how you are vulnerable after you've been through something traumatic. And a lot of religious people, again, not all of them, but I have noticed a lot of religious people like to take advantage of somebody who just went through something terrible in their life. So if somebody's been through any type of trauma, like somebody just lost a loved one, or like, the starving people in Africa or something, like a lot of religious people like to use that as an opportunity to convert them. And so I feel like people with like CPTSD, especially people who just got out of a traumatic situation, are at a very vulnerable place where they could easily get converted into some religion that they might not otherwise have joined, or even like a cult. This happened to me my first semester of college. I had just got out of my home that I grew up in, and I was living on my own for the first time, and I joined a cult, and it was partly because I made the mistake of telling the leader of the cult about some of my trauma, and I do feel like he purposely took advantage of the fact that I had that trauma to try to create kind of like this connection with me to exploit that so I could stay in the cult. And thankfully, I got out of it pretty quickly, but who knows how far that could have gone if I didn't get out of it. And so, like, I do think that people need to be more aware of that, like, some people would take advantage of the fact that this person's vulnerable due to their abuse. I think the last thing that I would say is I think going through something that might have been like a life or death experience, or something that was really traumatic to the person, leaves them wanting some type of meaning. They want to know why that happened. They want to know what the purpose of life is, because they're like, life is terrible. Look at what happened to me. What's the purpose of all of this? And that can lead to either somebody questioning the beliefs that they have, and then maybe even leaving the religion that they were a part of due to the questioning, or B, it could even make somebody who's not religious end up questioning things and joining a religion because they think that it gives them some type of meaning. And if that's a coping mechanism that helps them, then as long as they're not causing any harm to people, then that's great for them. But I do think that going through something like that can really make you wonder why, and ask these deeper questions that maybe other people haven't thought about as much. I could probably make a part 2 and 3 to this at some point if people are interested. If you have PTSD or CPTSD, please comment below your experience. Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye. Oh, one last thing. If you are an atheist and you're looking for a sense of community, where you're religious but you don't like the hateful stuff that a lot of churches are spewing right now with the MAGA agenda, or you have religious trauma and you're looking for a sense of community, I've been going to a Unitarian Universalist church lately, and it's a place where like, they're not going to try to force you to believe anything. They accept you how you are, whether or not you have certain beliefs, like you're Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, or whether or not you're atheist and you have a lack of beliefs. They accept you how you are, and they don't try to convert you or change you, and they're very accepting of you despite your gender, sexuality, or whatever it may be. So if you're looking for a sense of community, I do recommend your local Unitarian Universalist church. Thank you, bye.